Welcome to the Ultimate Sports Podcast special college basketball season preview for the 2019-20 season. Next up, I'll be previewing the Atlantic-10 conference. I'll go through my projected order of finish, make some predictions, make predictions on who will make the tournament, who will make the NIT, awards, and a lot more. All right, first up, I have winning the conference, the VCU Rams, the number 25 team in the AP poll to start the season. Mike Rhodes in year 3, Marcus Evans, Durante Jenkins, Marcus Santos Silva lead the way talent-wise. They went 25-8 a year ago, 16-2 in A10, and they got an at-large bid a year ago, but lost to UCF in the opening round of the tournament. In second place, I have the Davidson Wildcats, Bob McKillop in year 30. 24-10 a year ago, 14-4 in conference play, made the NIT. Kellen Grady and John Axel Gudmundsson back. Axel Gudmundsson, the reigning A10 Player of the Year. In third place, I have the Dayton Flyers, 21-12 last year, 13-5 in conference play. Anthony Grant in year number 3, which is unbelievable to me. Obi Toppin and Jalen Crutcher back. In fourth place, I have the Rhode Island Rams, 18-15 a year ago, 9-9 in conference play. David Cox in year 2. Fats Russell, Jeff Doughton, and Cyril Langvine coming back. So it should be interesting to see what this team looks like. Number 5, I have the St. Louis Billikens, who made a surprise run at the end of the season to steal the auto bid in the A10. This is normally the conference of bid stealers. 23-3 last year, 10-8 in conference play. Travis Ford in year 4. Hashawn French, Jordan Lewis, Terrence Hargrove Jr. lead the way in terms of returnees. Number 6, I have the St. Bonaventure Bonnies. Mark Schmidt in year 13. 18-16 last year, 12-6 in the conference. Kyle Lofton and Osuni among notable players. In 7th place, I have the Richmond Spiders, who went 13-20 a year ago, 6-12 in conference play. Chris Mooney in year 15, unbelievable, right? Jacob Gilliard and Grant Golden lead the way for them. In 8th place, I have the George Mason Patriots. David Paulson in year 5. Last season, 18-15, 11-7 in A10 play. So they had a very good year last year. That is a little overlooked. Justin Keir is their best player. In 9th place, I have the Duquesne Dukes, 19-13 a year ago, 10-8 in conference play. Keith Dambrot in year 3. Sincere Carey is their main piece coming back. In 10th place, I have the St. Joseph's Hawks, who are facing a lot of turnover, obviously. Phil Martelli gone. And so that's a big change for them. Taylor Funk is a notable player coming back. In 11th place, I have the LaSalle Explorers, 10-21 with an 8-10 record in conference last year. So they were a little better in conference play than people expected. Ashley Howard in year 2. And expectations are lower from this team, but I am higher on them than most because I am not as high on these next 3 teams, which are in order. 12th, I have George Washington, who went 9-24 a year ago, 4-14 in conference play. Maurice Joseph in year 4. In 13th place, I have the UMass Minutemen, 11-21 a year ago, 4-14 in conference play. Matt McCall in year 3. And in last place, in the basement, The Fordham Rams, I have in last, Jeff Neubauer in year 5, 12-20 last year, 3-15 in conference play. Okay, player of the year, I have Kellen Grady of Davidson. I think he's the best player in the conference, so he's going to get deserving love for this award, although his teammate will be in play with him when Joel Gudmundson. Marcus Evans is going to be in play as well for VCU. The freshman of the year, I have Terrence Hargrove Jr. of St. Louis. I think he'll be a big add to that team, and he's going to be one of the conference's best players in a couple of years. And coach of the year, I'm going to go with Mike Rhodes of VCU. I initially had Anthony Grant penciled in, but I don't, spoiler alert, I don't have them in the tournament. After recalibrating my final 68 field, they were not in there, so I had to take off Anthony Grant, although I think Dayton will have a good season and be in the NIT, as I have VCU and Davidson going in the NCAA tournament from this conference. I think Rhode Island and St. Louis are NIT team, St. Bonnie and Richmond to the CBI, and I think George Mason could be CIT. And I think that Duquesne can possibly sneak into one of those tournaments as well. Jeff Neubauer, I think, is the coach on the hottest seat. I think he gets let go. And another coach that I think could potentially lose his job is Chris Mooney, who's been at Richmond a while. And I think he's a rough year away from losing his job. Dave Paulson, I think his stock went up. And I think Mike Rhodes is the coach that leaves for a bigger and better opportunity at the end of the season. Next up, the Big East.